We never know where life will lead us or what may hinder us along the way. But while every day can feel like one big question mark, it doesn't have to. With the right insights, strategies, and solutions from Western and Southern Financial Group, together we can look ahead to leave the unknown behind.
Do we have to talk about Browns Steelers? It was one of the worst games I've seen this year.
I don't think we do. We're not beholden to any sort of rules here that we have to talk about every game. I will just say, Big Ben having the lowest yards per attempt in his final game at Heinz Field was kind of a microcosm of the game. It was kind of hilarious.
I mean, he had lower yards per attempt than Baker and completed like 8 more passes. It was insane. So Steelers win at home 26-14. I think there were dogs in this game, like 3-point dogs. I think it closed as Browns favored by 1. They win 26-14. Baker Mayfield looks horrendous. Goes 16 of 38 for 185, 2 TDs and 2 picks. And Ben Roethlisberger somehow like looks worse. 24 of 46, 123, 2.7 yards per attempt. 1 touchdown and an interception. I think Steve Levy, is it Steve Levy?
Yeah.
He on the broadcast said Big Ben was at one point was 5 for 5 on third downs, but they have not converted 1. It was like he was just continuing to throw the football below, behind the sticks and not getting things done, just checking things down. It was ugly, gross. Maybe one positive, that big run from Najee Harris. He finished the game with 28 carries for 188 yards. Yeah. 28 carries, 188 yards, and a TD, and like the stiff arm from hell that sent that Browns defender into the dirt, MJ Stewart. I think the only positives, Najee Harris is going to still be a Pittsburgh Steeler, and Big Ben is not. That's probably another positive from this one as well.
And Mike Tomlin not going below 500 yet again. And the Steelers actually still alive with a very, very outside chance it would take the Colts losing for them to sneak in. But still alive.
Off of this game and on to, let's go all rookie and then all pro.
Sweet.
So what we've done here is we've picked our picks for the all rookie and all pro teams by position. What you're going to see here, largely based on grading and how players have graded out this season.
But there are takes.
There are some takes to be had. I want to also kind of highlight some honorable mentions here. It's not going to be fun to just say all the same names over and over. I want to highlight some honorable mentions as well.
I was going to say, we won't harp too much on the ones that we agree upon that are fairly clear-cut.
Mm-hmm. The other thing I'll add is the mailbag episode is Thursday. And if you have not gone to the description in wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, etc., there is a link to speakpipe.com/tailgate where you can leave a voicemail for the mailbag episodes. We're going to answer probably like 4 to 6 every single week. Play those voicemails on the mailbag episode and answer those questions. It doesn't have to be questions, takes, impersonations of Renner's mom, Renner's sister, whoever we need to impersonate, we will impersonate on speakpipe.com/tailgate. The other thing I'll add is I am excited to answer those. You can also leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Send those reviews to the DMs in Tailgate to make sure those get answered as well. The mailbag episodes are going to be a treat, and we might be doing the bonus mailbag episode, 4 episodes a week here soon. On to all rookie team. Mac Jones, quarterback. We both picked Mac Jones. I don't think there's really much of a debate here. He's the highest graded rookie quarterback of any of them this year. Davis Mills not really putting up a fight, and he ranks tied for 9th among all quarterbacks in the NFL in PFF grade, coming off an 89.9 PFF grade in Week 17 in that blowout win over the Jags. Any reason to go off of Mac Jones here?
No. This isn't to say he's all of a sudden QB1 from this draft class for certain.
Mm-hmm. Of course not.
You learn your lesson when you see what Baker Mayfield did on Monday night after his rookie year. But there's no debate that he was the best as a rookie.
Do you ultimately now, or do you want to have this conversation?
Hell no. You know I don't. I'd rather not. We have weeks and months to talk about.
Okay, fine. Running back. I wanted to give Elijah Mitchell some love here. I wanted to add him as an honorable mention. I don't think he's been talked about enough. Huh?
So why don't you marry him then?
What the hell? That joke is trash. That joke is literally trash.
Yours are so
but I think Elijah Mitchell deserves some credit. He hasn't played a ton this year. He's been hurt a ton this year. 404 snaps played, but he's the number 2 graded rookie behind the guy we both picked. But Elijah Mitchell for San Francisco has played like a seasoned vet this year. When healthy, Najee Harris I think also deserves some love. Over 900 snaps played. The amount of touches Najee Harris has had this season is absolutely absurd. I think he will finish the year with potentially the most combined broken tackles when you include receptions, because he's gotten the ball dumped off to him 1,000 times. If volume was driving this pick for us, I think Najee Harris would be the name. And recency bias at the stiff arm 180-yard day, maybe you do it. But Javonte Williams is our pick. He's only played 500 snaps, which is close to half of what Najee has played. But he leads. He's tied for the lead in forced missed tackles per touch on the ground with Jonathan Taylor. He has been as efficient.
Just straight up.
Really?
Yeah. He's tied for the lead for most forced missed tackles.
Wow, on the ground. Yeah, that's right.
Not per touch.
That's insane.
Yeah, especially considering only 191 carries on the year. Yeah, so he has 5 more carries than Elijah Mitchell and twice as many broken tackles, which is, I mean, that's just who he is. He's so averaging 4.5 per. He is my pick for it. Now, Najee, he didn't have much of a shot. You know, like it's not as if this is for certain, again, that Javonte is the better back. It's just when you average 3.9 yards per carry, you're not overcoming said run blocking in a meaningful manner, even though he was good as a receiver as well.
On to wide receiver. Is there any conversation for not Jamar Chase?
I don't think there's any conversation for either wide receiver positions here.
Really?
For the rookie class.
So we have Jamar Chase and Jalen Waddle picked. That's who we picked. I threw in, like I did Elijah Mitchell, I want to give him his due. Devontae Smith has been excellent this year.
Okay.
Do not come away from this year thinking Devontae Smith is a bust. Do not come away from this year thinking Devontae Smith. I think there's still opportunity for him to enter this like upper echelon among this class, right? I still think he's in that upper echelon with Jamar Chase and Jalen Waddle. If Chase didn't literally break every rookie receiving record that you could possibly break, and Jalen Waddle wasn't as electric as he was, I think more people will be talking about Devontae Smith. I think some of it, he hasn't had a lot of downfield work, right? But Jamar Chase and Jalen Waddle are the 2 receivers we selected.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. No one's going to walk away from Devontae Smith's rookie season and call him a bust. He has almost as many yards as John Ross has in his entire career still. Like and that's in year 1. So like there's a bar for busts, and it looks like Jalen Reagor, John Ross as rookies. You're way beyond that for Devontae Smith. But at the same time, Jalen Waddle and Jamar Chase just been better, like far better, even on like a per touch, per open target basis. So yeah, those are the 2. Amon-Ra St. Brown deserves some love. If you were to put a slot receiver in this, he makes the all-rookie team as well.
Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's kind of turned on of late. I think that's been
He was a league
impressive.
winner for a lot of people.
A league winner in fantasy.
As they say
in the fantasy football world.
Not for me. League winner for me was
who?
Jamar Chase, baby.
Wow. Yeah, Jamar Chase was freaking awesome down the stretch. Before we get to tight end and the rest of the rookie class, cheers to 2022 and resolutions you can actually keep. How about upgrading your grooming routine for the new year? Our sponsors at Manscaped are here to make the ball drop into 2022 the cleanest ever. Set your first New Year's resolution with good intentions and join the 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with our exclusive offer. Go to manscaped.com and use code PFF for 20% off and free shipping. It's the new year. New me. It's new year, new me. With the global leaders in male grooming, this year, take your grooming to the next level with the Performance Package 4.0. Brand new Ultra Premium Body Wash. Get 20% off plus free shipping with code PFF at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. And use code PFF. It's new year, new me in 2022 with Manscaped. So I talked to Connor Price, who is a person who works here at PFF who handles the sponsor stuff for the podcast. He said Manscaped sent him a PG read and an R read. Okay. And he gave us the PG read.
That was the PG read.
Yeah, that's trash.
It did seem PG. Yeah.
We want the R read. Yeah. So I told him to upload the R read.
This is the children's R-rated podcast.
Yeah, exactly. We need the R read the next time we swing that bat, or else I'm going to be upset. All right, tight end, Kyle Pitts. Next question. I mean, no other rookie tight ends even made an impact this year.
Pat Freiermuth had more touchdowns. He had 7 touchdowns.
Wow.
So eat that, Kyle Pitts.
You're a volume stat guy with touchdowns.
I mean, what's the goal of the game? What are we trying to do here? Trying to score points, or are we trying to just rack up yardage? Is it a view contest?
I want to spend some time on this next one.
Okay.
Because he's been like legitimately phenomenal.
Yeah.
Rashawn Slater of the Los Angeles Chargers has been insane for them. Kind of an unsung hero because so much of the attention goes to Eckler, Herbert, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, that defense with Staley and Asante Samuel Jr. Rashawn Slater, you may have not heard his name a ton, but rightfully so, because this guy has not allowed like next to any pressure this year. And he has on the year an 83.5 PFF grade, which is number one among all offensive tackles, ahead of Penei Sewell and others that have taken snaps this year, Sam Cosmi, etc. And in pass protection, he has allowed only 17 pressures all year, and he has no game with more than 4 pressures allowed. Back in week 5 against the Cleveland Browns, Myles Garrett included, was his worst game statistically from a pressures perspective. But since then, dude, he has been lights out over the last 2 weeks. 0 pressures allowed. Hasn't allowed more than 4 pressures in a game since then. More than 3 pressures in a game since week 5. Rashawn Slater, is he going to be on Hall of Fame bust watch soon? I mean, this guy is on an absolute tear.
Yeah, he's 6th overall among tackles. He's been excellent. He was the highest grade player in the NFL this past week. Yeah, I'm going to pump the brakes on the Hall of Fame bus watch, but this is like, I mean, this is what Marshall Yanda looked like as a rookie. This is what Zach Martin looked like as a rookie. The Tyron Smith, the high-end guys, right out the gate. And that's Rashawn Slater. So I just want to, for a quick, we'll do it at the end of the all-rookie team action. Never mind. Go ahead. Keep going.
Oh, wow. You have something at the end.
No, I was just gonna read how we rank the top of this class outside the quarterback position, just like the position players. But we'll go to the end and do that.
Left guard, Elijah Vera Tucker. We both selected him. I think he's the highest graded rookie guard, regardless of left side or right side. He has been phenomenal. Was he worth the trade up for the New York Jets? We don't have to get into that positional value, getting the most out of your picks, but he's been a damn good player. And I think he only gets better as he moves forward.
Yeah. ABT. And center, Creed Humphrey. Guard.
He's the highest graded center in the NFL.
Yeah.
Creed Humphrey is not just the highest graded rookie interior offensive lineman. He's not just the highest graded rookie lineman. He is the highest graded center in the NFL. Talk about a slam dunk.
That was my whiff watch. I couldn't believe. For a guy to go, and the NFL is kicking themselves too, for a guy to be the best center in the NFL day one and drop. What was he? He was picked right behind Josh Myers. I mean, he wasn't even the first center off the board. Pretty absurd.
All righty then. Trey Smith, too. We both picked him as the right guard. He's the Kansas City Chiefs right guard, former Tennessee Volunteer who slipped in the draft because he had the blood clots in his lungs. But, dude, he has been nothing short of phenomenal. I think he's the second highest graded rookie guard behind Elijah Vera Tucker so far this year. Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith both make the all-rookie team, which is insane for the Chiefs to hit on those 2 interior offensive linemen. I think where they've had less success is Orlando Brown Jr. at left tackle. That's where they've seen some hurt. And then right tackle, they have not. I think it's been Lucas Niang all year, who's been body bagged quite a bit. But on the interior, a lot of success with Tooney, Creed, and Trey Smith so far.
I will also say there's only been 6 guards to really start the majority of the year. So there's not a lot of competition there. It's like they beat out Alex Leatherwood, Royce Newman, Jalen Mayfield, who have, I believe, all at one point in time made a blackout of the week. So not a lot of comp there.
It's been kind of a blackout season for Leatherwood. You hate to see it. Right tackle, Penei Sewell. But we both picked Penei Sewell. He is the a lot of this based on grading, right? He's the number 2 graded tackle behind Rashawn Slater so far this year among rookies. Sam Cosmi, though, battled some injuries. He has not played as much as Penei Sewell has, but man, he has been also very good. I think you've talked about him before as like a guy that has already exceeded expectations coming out of Texas.
Yeah, Cosmi is shown a lot to be excited about. And Christian Darrisaw. Now Christian Darrisaw's left tackle, but those 2 guys, if you are a Vikings and football team fan, I'd be very excited. Those are what like good seasons usually look like for tackles. But Slater, Sewell, Wirfs, those guys are exceptions. This is what, an encouraging start to a career looks more like Cosmi and Darrisaw usually.
Defensive tackle, we both picked Christian Barmore. He's the highest graded rookie defensive tackle so far this year. He has been a
Top
standout
10 in pressures for DTs this
among
year.
all DTs.
Yeah.
And then number 2, you picked Osa Odigizua, Dallas Cowboys defensive tackle, former UCLA defensive tackle. I picked Ali McNeil, Detroit Lions defensive tackle, who's graded really well, specifically against the run this year. I think he ranks number 2 or number 3 among rookie defensive tackles. I think Roy Lopez is somewhere in there. He's played a lot of snaps for the Houston Texans, but there's not a lot of defensive tackle play to speak to here because a lot of them haven't played more than 400 snaps this season, which is kind of this barometer we take for like a starter. Yeah. And Roy Lopez would rank number 2 among rookie defensive tackles with 400 plus snaps played behind Christian Barmore. But he was only graded out as like a 58.7. He has not played well.
Yeah. So this is very indicative of what we said all spring, where it's like, this is not a good DT class. It is Christian Barmore. And then I'm not sure I'd want to take one until the 3rd round. Like Ali McNeil, where he went, is probably the next probably opportunity I would have even thought about taking a defensive tackle in this class. Barmore, obviously, been a dude from day one here in terms of being able to rush the passer. He's 9th in total pressures. Odigizua, though, has shown to me, may not grade the highest, 47.6 overall grade, because he has been moved a little easily at times in the run game. Only a 35.1 grade, moved easily being sort of understatement. But the flashes, you see him beating guys quickly at the NFL level more than Roy Lopez. You know, like it has more high-end plays that I've seen from him on tape. So that's why I put him on this list.
Edge defender. Both picked Kwity Paye. He's the highest graded rookie edge this year. I think he also has the highest pass rush win rate of any rookie edge. I considered after Kwity, Gregory Rousseau, who's played a ton of defensive snaps for Buffalo, has a decent amount of pressures, a lot of them clean up pursuit, but I opted for, with you, Odafe Oweh, who has a higher pass rush win rate and has been overall like seen more high end from Oweh than you have from Rousseau. Rousseau has been consistently good for Buffalo. I think there is some reason for some
Rousseau
concern. Go ahead.
I mean, didn't he beat up the Dolphins twice?
Yeah.
It's like, that was why I leaned to Odafe Oweh. Had more consistent sort of game in, game out, making plays. It wasn't just, hey, I faced Liam Eichenberg on
beat up Atlanta, beat up Miami again, and those are three of his highest graded games this year. Also, Kansas City earned a high PFF pass rushing grade that week as well. He has beat up on bad offensive tackles, but you can only play the people you play. So he's got 30 pressures on the year, which has been good compared to some of the other pass rushers, right? I think this class, what we talked about so much was, how it's going to take time, right? It's going to take time before these guys develop. I think another player to bring up is Jalen Phillips, right? 38 total pressures on the year, but just a 61.4 PFF pass rushing grade. He's only really had stellar games against Carolina, who doesn't have the best of offensive lines, and then Indianapolis in week 4. But Phillips, was he in consideration for you?
No, I mean, he was. Obviously, everyone was in consideration for me. That's how this works.
Fair, sorry.
No, but to me, he was a DPR in that defense. Oweh, more an every down player, more plays against the run. Going forward, I'm not sure. I'm really favoring one over the other. Both had like high-end flashes. Obviously, Oweh was slightly ahead on our board, so probably still leaning that way. But it wasn't a drastically different in terms of encouraging first seasons.
Linebacker. Micah Parsons you can't even bet him to win Defensive Rookie of the Year anymore because it's so obvious. He's the highest graded linebacker regardless of experience in the NFL. And probably if TJ Watt, I think he had like a sack and a half in this last night's game. Like if TJ Watt didn't have that, again, I've had my rant on the Defensive Player of the Year award. It's pretty much who leads the NFL in sacks. If Watt and Garrett weren't having the seasons they are, and Micah Parsons maybe even more often played along the edge, I think he'd be in it. But like, this is the best we've seen a rookie compete for that award in a long time. Maybe since Lawrence Taylor won it as a rookie a long time ago in the 90s or whatever it was. But Micah Parsons, man, putting him on all rookie team isn't enough. We're going to get to the all pro team. I think he makes an appearance there as well. He has been legitimately better than I think, even if you threw the off field out the window, I think he's even been better than people thought. Like in terms of playing multiple positions and having the impact he's had at such a young age. He's still only 21 years old. It's been such an insane year for Micah Parsons, and Dallas wanted a corner, right? I think everyone spoke to, like, they wanted Surtain, they wanted Horn, both those guys off the board. They end up opting for BPA in their opinion and Micah Parsons, and holy shit, did they hit a slam dunk.
Yeah, I love Parsons coming out. Like, people had the questions about him in coverage, which were fair, but he was, depending on the role you were going to play him in, he still had the coverage ability that, to me, is probably the most rare, which is like tracking down athletes in space. He is probably the best linebacker in the NFL at that right now. Like, that guy runs a 4.39 at 245 pounds. He is just, they were talking about on the broadcast that he is not just, fast for a linebacker. He's the fastest guy in the field when he plays. Like, put in the cornerbacks there for the Cowboys, put in whoever you want on that Cowboys defense. He is the fastest guy on that football field. And whether it's rushing the passer, like I said, whether it's closing to running backs, whether it's covering in space, he's just been, all-pro linebacker. And there hasn't been a rookie get Defensive Player of the Year votes this millennium. I'm not sure when the last time was, but
he'll get
as
votes.
Far back as I had. And I do think he does get votes because he really has transformed this Cowboys defense.
Also helps that he plays for the Cowboys, right? And the
That's how you
Cowboys
get
get a
those,
little bit of a bump. I mean, you look at, he has not rushed the passer exclusively really since week 11 and week 12. So he's rushed the passer more than 40 times in those two games against Kansas City and Las Vegas. And guess what? He had 17 total fucking pressures in those games. That's insane. Some people, you talk about Jalen Phillips, he has 38 pressures on the season. Michael Parsons had those in the 2 games he's played, more than 40 pass rushing snaps in a game. And then for the year, 67 total pressures for Michael Parsons, rushing the passer over 300 times, in coverage over 280 times, and on the year over 900 snaps played. Like, the versatility, the impact, the efficiency, the high end, it's all there for Michael Parsons. Like, you can't say enough good words about him on the football field this year. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. If Parsons didn't exist, you're probably hearing a little bit more about Owusu-Koramoah. He has been really solid for the Cleveland Browns on defense, the former Notre Dame linebacker. He's played, I think, a little north of 500 defensive snaps. He's battled some injuries at certain points in the season, multiple games with a single game grade above 70. I think it's 4 total on the year. Has not rushed the passer nearly as often as Micah Parsons, but what he's done in coverage, I think, has been special.
Yeah, so Pete Werner has been great in a limited role. Nick Bolton's been great in a limited role.
I'm sorry.
Both those guys. And you've complained about my jokes over here. Both those guys, though, don't hold the candle to what we saw from Owusu-Koramoah and Parsons so far this season. There was no debate.
Cornerback. Patrick Surtain is not the highest graded rookie corner, actually. I think like Nate Hobbs, technically, because he plays the slot, I think is the highest graded rookie corner. Jerry Jacobs, who before he got hurt for the Detroit Lions, is graded, I think, higher than Surtain. Eric Stokes is
slot guys.
Yeah.
That's a different position.
Yeah, it's a different position. But outside corner, Surtain is up there, and we both picked him as the number 1. I do think we should give Eric Stokes some love, though. Yes. Eric Stokes has graded really well. You've already spoke to that. He's exceeded expectations compared to your pre-draft thoughts on Eric Stokes. I think Stokes, honestly, like we have here picked, we both picked Surtain and Newsome as our 2 outside corners. I think it's depends on your flavor, right? I think Stokes could insert to either one of those. Yeah,
I thought Newsome has been probably the most like consistently not beaten. I don't know how to say it. What's the best way to say that? He's been toasted the fewest amount of times of these guys, of like that top group. I think it's Surtain, and then Stokes is a clear third for me of the guys who have played well this season as rookies from start to finish on the outside. So that was kind of the deciding factor for me in the rankings here. And then at the nickel spot, the slot, I went with Nate Hobbs, who idiotically was found asleep in his car Monday morning, and is charged with DUI now.
Jesus. Yeah, I ended up not going with Nate Hobbs, not because he hasn't been the highest grade rookie corner, but just because I don't know how much. I mean, the DUI situation in Las Vegas, you just hate to see it. I went with Elijah Molden, who's also graded really well in the slot for Tennessee, the former Washington cornerback, also a friend of the show, absolute friend of the show.
That one was one you could just see coming from a mile away.
Yeah,
it was just like. The hardest part about it was just like, how much do you value the guy who that's probably always going to be? He's probably only going to be a slot at the next level. That's all he did at Washington until maybe, I think it was like a couple games his last year there. He finally played some deep safety to try to, showcase his versatility, whatever. But that was the guy with the NFL today. You wanted him in the slot role. Now, how valuable is that? That's, eye of the beholder. Depends a lot on the scheme, what you're asking him to do in your defense. But you just always knew he was going to be good there. And he has been.
Yeah, I think he athletically compared really well to Mike Hilton, who has obviously been a dominant slot player for the Steelers and now playing good football for the Cincinnati Bengals. Safety, no surprises here. These guys have played a ton of snaps this year and have both played really, really well at safe position. I think they both rank actually inside the top 10 among all safeties in the NFL in PFF grade this year. Javon Holland, Oakland native, Bishop O'Dowd grad, and Oregon graduate. And Miami Dolphin now, Javon Holland. And then Trayvon Merrick for the Las Vegas Raiders, who's played more snaps of any rookie defender this year and is also graded really well. Those 2 safeties make the all-rookie team.
Yeah, that was pretty clear-cut. There really weren't even that many other starting safeties in this rookie class. Javon Holland may be my biggest regrettable.
I tried to tell you.
And I literally think it was just purely because I watched him so early on and just got like fatigue, where it was just like I had watched him obviously after his true sophomore year. After that draft, after the 2020 draft, going into that, is that right? 2020 draft, going into the 2020 season. And then obviously he doesn't play. So I've seen him already, and I see all these other guys play, and I get intrigued by their tape. And all of a sudden, I'm like talking myself out of Javon Holland for some reason. That's on me. Javon Holland, that dude's a stud. Legit consideration. He's one of a number of guys in this class that deserves legit consideration for all-pro at their respective positions, not just all-rookie, all-pro. But now we've gone through all of these. I want to say how we had kind of the top of the position class ranked here, and just to see how like ridiculous this class truly has been.
Yeah, you're going
at the top. Our position player rankings went like this: Penei Sewell, which I still feel fine about as our top position player; Kyle Pitts, Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith, which Sam made me do that. I hate that I did that. I wanted Jalen Waddle, who's next on our list. Jalen Waddle, Micah Parsons, Rashawn Slater.
Blaming Sam.
Christian Barmore. I will blame Sam again and again. Christian Barmore, Patrick Surtain. That was how we ranked our top 8 position players. All those guys just out the gate hits. Like there's not a doubt about any of those guys. It's like, are any of those guys going to be some of the best at their respective positions? They already are.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
It's insane that the top of the class is like that. Now, in retrospect, who would I go first of this group? It's tough, of the position player group. Micah Parsons, as much as I loved him, and I think like putting him as high as we did was about as high as I saw anyone else. He might be the top of that group, honestly, because he plays a valuable role in whatever defense is going to be in.
If he's rushing the passer over 300 times a season, the positional value conversation changes, right? It's not he's just playing off-ball linebacker. If anything, it improves because you could probably franchise him as a linebacker, which gets paid significantly, if you ever got to this point, right? He's paid significantly less than an edge defender. And if you do sign him and you want to make him the highest paid off-ball linebacker, that's so much different than the highest paid edge defender in the NFL. I mean, it's a difference by 6, 7, 8 million per year. So Parsons in this role, if you pay him requisite to the rest of the off-ball linebackers when you do get to this second contract, I don't hate vaulting him up to the number 1, number 2 non-quarterback in this class.
Yeah. And then so Parsons, Chase, Slater, Sewell, Pitts, somewhere like that. Is that, or Waddle probably in there too? It's tough. They're all at the top of this class was probably the best one we've seen since we started grading PFF.
A big part of that, I think, is a lot of these guys have played really, really well, and it speaks to the talent of the class. But another part, too, another thing I want to touch on was after Slater, right? So you had Sewell, Pitts, Chase, Smith, Waddle, Parsons, Slater. Probably in hindsight, we had Christian Barmore at 12th on the board and Patrick Surtain at 13. Maybe you flop Surtain.
No, I still think Barmore's going to be a monster.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, look at
he has been a monster.
Rookie year as a defensive tackle compared to other defensive tackles in league history, because that's a tough position to come in right away. Like cornerback, not to say that, it's easy to play cornerback right away, but we've seen a lot of cornerbacks come in and be dudes from day one. Like it's very possible because you're playing at a college level, like you're almost asked to do like a very similar thing, which is like cover space. You're doing something once you go from defensive tackle to the NFL that is massively different, because what you're doing, it's like going from bench pressing 400 pounds to bench pressing 500 pounds. Because that's like the guy who's hitting you is just that level of that much stronger. You don't face guys that big and that strong at the collegiate level. There's just not a possibility. Whereas you can face guys that fast, that athletic at the collegiate level. So to me, what he's done as a rookie, like I said, already has more pressure than Chris Jones did as a rookie. I think the career trajectory for him is going to be into that upper echelon of the, whatever that tier 1 of DTs behind Aaron Donald is going to be.
So maybe I'm wrong there. I think maybe the first,
I don't think it's wrong.
First
it's
real
just,
regret.
I think
a couple notes looking at these position rankings. I think it's a good opportunity to talk about these. One, Rashad Bateman has not played a lot this year, but he's been fucking awesome for the Baltimore Ravens. I think he'll be an interesting year 2 look as he plays more snaps for Baltimore. Maybe the first real regret is Farley at 23. Caleb Farley, the cornerback of Tennessee, who obviously had the injury concerns. Yeah. Maybe we didn't weight those too much because he still has injury concerns in Tennessee. But again, that's maybe a first early regret when injuries are hard to predict and all that kind of stuff. I don't see like any glaring concerns with some of this stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say like a guy who I feel could be not great. Like I think I'd have to go down to 28, Terrace Marshall, where it's like he did nothing. Obviously that offense did nothing also, but that's one where the guy really was healthy and didn't put up numbers as a rookie.
Azeez Ojulari maybe too at 30.
30, but
he has not played all that well and has had some decent run for the Giants. But again, you're talking about franchises that have been kind of dumpster fires all year, so it's hard to really glean much. Let's get to the All-Pro team. But before we do, I hate doing that. Let's get to the All-Pro team, but I got to tell you about this. We've hit the final week of the pro football regular season, and college football is heading into the national championship. DraftKings Sportsbook has an unbelievable offer to get all fans in on the action for this exciting time on the football calendar. New customers can bet just $5 on any NFL team, or any football team rather, to win their game, and if they do, you can win $200 in free bets. So let's wind down the season with a big win. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code PFF. Bet just $5 on any football team, college or pro, and win $200 in free bets if they're victorious. That is $200 in free bets if they win. That's promo code PFF this week at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 years or older. New Jersey, Indiana, or Pennsylvania only. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit, $1 wager required. One per customer. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. All-Pro team. We differ right out of the gate. You have Rodgers as your quarterback because you're a Green Bay homer and a stakeholder.
Nope. I mean,
I have,
but that's not why.
Tom Brady.
Stop saying stakeholder. It's a shareholder.
Whatever the fuck you are. Okay. Tom Brady is my QB for the All-Pro team, the higher graded player, the player who has generated more PFF WAR than Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers is even the line in the NFL, pass blocking offensive line in the NFL,
which is fine. You can only play behind the offensive line that's on your team, and he has been phenomenal for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Graded better, more PFF WAR. I like Tom Brady over Rodgers. And now he's battling Antonio Brown leaving literally mid-game. He's got injuries, Chris Godwin, injuries, Leonard Fournette. He's got injuries across the board. He's still holding this team together. I like Tom Brady as the quarterback All-Pro.
Yeah, I mean, Rodgers beat the Cardinals with no one. He has 4 backup offensive linemen starting right now. Or has for the last handful of weeks. And they've look like the best offensive, or at least at worst top 3 offense in the NFL over that span. With 4 backup offensive linemen, the grade we can debate. It's close. It's tight. 91.4 versus 89.1. But the supporting cast we can't debate. He has had Tom Brady the better supporting cast.
Yeah, Tom Brady has had the better supporting cast. I think I want to just really differ here. Any conversation around the highest graded quarterback in the NFL, Joe Burrow being the All-Pro here?
There is some. I don't think the grade captures a lot of the sacks he has taken that have kind of affected that offense. Whereas, so you have Burrow, and now, again, some of he is playing behind a very bad offensive line. But I wouldn't say his offensive line is any worse right now in pass protection than Aaron Rodgers has been over the past, since he's had all these backups, since Elton Jenkins basically went down. And Aaron Rodgers only been sacked 27 times this year. Tom Brady only sacked 21 times this year. Joe Burrow 51. He's put a lot of that on himself. He has the 3rd highest pressure to sack conversion rate in the NFL. So behind Baker Mayfield and Ben Roethlisberger, the elite duo we saw on Monday night.
The elite duo. Oh my gosh. I think with Burrow too, I think if Zach Taylor was actually cooking up pass plays early, his volume stats would be a lot bigger. And then he'd be way more in the conversation if he was throwing for 400 yards a game.
He is close, man. I mean, he deserves.
He's 3rd in the odds right now. He's 3rd in
Some
MVP odds. Right now it's Rodgers.
So he deserves a vote from a Cincinnati homer voter.
Peter King, who's been to Cincinnati.
Chris Collinsworth.
Chris Collinsworth. Is Chris Collinsworth a voter?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Is Chris going to vote for Joey B? I will say that right now Aaron Rodgers is a favorite to win the MVP. I think he's minus 400. Tom Brady is number 2 in odds, and then Joe Burrow is number 3. Running back. Is there really any conversation here? I think if Derrick Henry stayed healthy, there could be some back and forth, but with Derrick Henry sidelined for like a majority of the back half of the season, Jonathan Taylor of the Indianapolis Colts is the obvious answer here.
Yes. Yes. This might be, I'm trying to think if there are any that are more obvious, even though you did call Cordero Patterson the best running back in the NFL.
He is the best running back.
They put him on the team. But I'm trying to think is there any position where there's less of a debate? Maybe Trent Williams at tackle. Obviously Aaron Donald defensive tackle. But there's just if he doesn't get 50 out of 50 votes, if there's no second team All-Pro, which the All-Pro, we can get to how stupid the voting is for it, that you get second team if there's anyone that votes for you. So
wait, what?
You know how All-Pro voting works?
How does it work?
So it's basically you get one ballot and you fill out your one ballot. Whoever gets the most votes gets first team. Everyone who gets a vote, or no, whoever gets second most votes gets second team.
Wait,
so if some guy gets 49 votes, so if at running back, Jonathan Taylor gets 49 votes.
And someone goes Damian Harris.
Someone writes in A.J. Dillon. A.J. Dillon's a second team All-Pro. Yeah.
That's absurd.
That's how it works. That's why Nate.
So then it just rewards people who don't pick the obvious choice.
That's just how All-Pro voting works. Nate Davis believe was second team All-Pro last year at guard, or at least received an All-Pro vote at guard last year, because someone just went, what fucking rogue? And someone's like, maybe it's been great. And it's like,
highest graded players in the NFL with at least 100 carries this year. PFF rushing grade. Josh Allen, quarterback for the Buffalo Bills.
First team All-Pro.
A.J. Dillon with 177 carries this year. Tony Pollard, 90.3 with 136 carries. And then Jonathan Taylor is number 4, 90.0 rushing grade this year with over 300 carries. I think he is the obvious answer for first team All-Pro running back. Wide receiver, Devontae Adams and Cooper Kupp. I don't think there's another battle here either. Like, this is pretty fucking obvious.
Yeah, it really is. And now Justin Jefferson may have more yards than Devontae Adams, but like, just watch that Packers offense. It's Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
And Devontae's got more touchdowns. He's done it on far fewer passing plays.
And he's done it as the guy. Fewer. I mean, he has been
the only guy. It's almost like comical that no one can limit him in that offense. You know what they showed, like the graphic on Sunday Night Football. He has like 1,000 yards more than anyone else in the Packers receiving. It just doesn't happen, but somehow. That's why I think Matt LaFleur deserves Coach of the Year.
Do you think Cooper Kupp should be the one though, over Adams?
Ooh, I don't know how that exactly works for All-Pro voting. I think you just.
I think if you're just a first team, you're first team. Kupp right now leads the NFL with 1,800 receiving yards. Justin Jefferson 1,509 at number 2, and then Devontae Adams has like I think that's the other thing too. It's like he has like 11 fewer yards than Justin.
I will say in terms of like real All-Pro voting, if Cooper Kupp doesn't get all 50 ballots, I think it's 50. Like disband it, like take away whoever didn't vote for him's vote.
Well, that one's going to be easy though. Like it's super easy to vote for the guy who has the most receiving yards when when you're about. I think when guys who are actually the best also lead in like certain box score categories, I don't think there's going to be a ton of concern. I think a lot of that'll be pretty easy. I think there is Justin Jefferson over Devontae Adams though. Even if it is just an 11-yard difference, worry because the voters could see. Well, he's got more yards.
Yeah,
but. I think it should be Kupp and Adams. I think you're right there. I think they're the 2 highest graded receivers according to PFF as well. As for tight end, Mark Andrews leads all tight ends in receiving yards with 1,276 this year. He's caught 99 of 134 targets. Travis Kelce is a close number 2, but he has not been as efficient or as highly graded as Mark Andrews is. Do you finally pass the torch away from Gronk, Kelce, Kittle, and give Mark Andrews the nod?
It's going to be tough not to. He's got the most receptions, the most yards, the most touchdowns. And now Kelce is a different type of tight end. He's much better after the catch than Mark Andrews. But, I mean, Mark Andrews is catching a higher rate of his passes. He's catching passes down the football field. He has been excellent at getting open this season and in a not high-volume passing offense. So I think you got to give the nod to Andrews this year.
Do you think name recognition, though, pushes Kelce ahead?
I could see it.
I could see it, too.
But
we'll see.
Yeah, I do think Mark Andrews has been terrific, though.
Should we hold? I mean, there's going to be a legitimate uproar if Trent Williams doesn't win left tackle. He is the highest graded offensive lineman PFF, and he could go down depending on week 18 as the highest graded lineman I think we've ever seen, right, in a single season. He has been absolutely absurd as a run blocker in this offense. I think he had a 99.9 PFF grade at one point. Trent Williams is the first team All-Pro, and there are no rebuttals.
Yeah, it's Trent at left tackle. That one is another one of those that there's no debate.
Left guard, Bitonio is actually graded really well as well this year. Joel Bitonio, the guard for the Cleveland Browns, I think he has a 94-plus PFF grade so far this year. Very few pressures allowed in pass protection. Has also been a road grader for them as a run blocker, kind of one of the unsung guards in the NFL. Everyone brings up Zach Martin. Everyone brings up Quentin Nelson, but Bitonio is in that. He's in that tier for me. If you're talking about tier 1 of guards in the NFL, Bitonio is 100% in there with Martin and with Nelson.
He's honestly been one of the most underrated guards because everyone talks about
Wyatt Teller.
And everyone talks about Wyatt Teller because he has more highlight reel plays than that, like highlight reel blocks. But he hasn't given up more than 18 pressures in a season the past 4 years, Joel Bitonio. Been healthy, and he even filled in at left tackle this year. I think is the other thing that gives him the nod. You filled in at left tackle weeks 15 and 16 and only had 3 total pressures in those 2 games. Like, this is a guy who was a left tackle at Nevada when he was coming out, 2nd round pick. Dude, he should have been fighting to stay at left tackle because he looked damn good there too.
Left or center, Creed Humphrey not only made the all-rookie team, but he's going to make the all-pro team for PFF as well. He is the highest grade center in the NFL. It's as simple as that. He has been very consistent.
It's very far and away the highest graded.
Yeah, I think right now he has a 90-plus PFF grade. No other center has higher than like an 82, I think is what I've seen.
His 85 is Corey Linsley is 85.
Corey Linsley at 85, big free agent signing for the Los Angeles Chargers. Creed Humphrey comes in and says, no, I'm the highest graded center in the NFL. He has been the obvious one. I don't think that shifts a ton either. Maybe Linsley gets it for name recognition and people are scared to put rookies on the all-pro team. But with offensive linemen, we've seen over the years, people side with PFF pretty often in these situations. Not the Nate Davis stuff, just because the voting's kind of fucked. But I think PFF has gotten more popular. I think more people have sided with where PFF sees him. It's not just about starts and snaps.
I bet this is going to be your all-pro line, what we're saying right
Trent, Bretonio, Creed, and then at right guard we have Zach Martin, who is, I think, the highest graded interior offensive lineman, even above Creed so far this year. And
he's already been a 6-time all-pro. That's four
he's Hall of Famer.
Two second teams. That's already Hall of Fame level right there.
And then right tackle, I think there are some other tackles that have potentially graded better than Whiff's at right tackle this year, but Whiff's I picked him over. I think Tom Compton has been grading well. I think he's played up and down for the San Francisco 49ers, but I like Whiff's over everyone.
Yeah, this one's not close either. It's Tristan Wirfs at right tackle. And it's more because not just because Wirfs has been awesome, but also like the right tackles in the NFL this season have not been great, whether it's Ryan Ramczyk getting hurt, Lane Johnson missing time, Tristan Wirfs starting all 16 games, only allowing 12 total pressures on the season is just, that's your first team right tackle.
So Tom Compton, the San Francisco 49ers offensive tackle, has played over 500 snaps at right tackle.
It's kind of a journeyman. He's been all over.
And he's actually graded better than Wirfs this year, but a lot of that being run blocking. Just a 68.9 pass blocking grade for Compton, a 93.1 run blocking grade. And Onwenu has played injured a lot this year, but he has over 200 snaps played at right tackle and has graded better. But still, you look at Wirfs, over 1,100 snaps played, all at right tackle, 84.1 PFF grade, 84.3 pass blocking grade, highest of any right tackle. I think backing him as a right tackle. And honestly, I wouldn't put Compton or Onwenu next. I'd put Lane Johnson as that number 2 right tackle if you're going to go second team all-pro. Defense. Before we get to defense, should we get to Western Southern, where you can defend life with life insurance? Want a chance to win the ultimate game day feast? Whether it's football success or financial savvy, winning starts with asking us questions. Would you like to know what it's like behind the scenes with Allen Sunday Night Football? How about a need to know for your financial future? Western Southern is teaming up with PFF's very own Chris Collinsworth, the boss of the big man, to share insights that can help put you ahead on both your fantasy and financial scoreboards. Every submission earns you a chance to win the ultimate game day feast to celebrate football's favorite Sunday. We'll cover your catering up to $2,500. Who are you inviting for that much fucking food? That's insane. It's a big party. Coordinate your order from a restaurant near you and have it delivered on February 13th, 2022. And don't forget to check out the Chris Collinsworth podcast and Western Southern's Instagram for the answers to the best questions each week. Submit your questions at westernsouthern.com/askchris. One more time, that is westernsouthern.com/askchris. If you're watching on YouTube, check out the link in the description below. Remember, with Western Southern, you can rest assured on game day. You have $2,500. You have to spend it on food, not alcohol. 1, how many people are you inviting? And 2, where are you going to get the food here in Cincy? I want to throw something out there. Wings are always a good Super Bowl food. Mm-hmm. And we have those wings. The MLT's is a great wings place in Cincy. And so is Knockback Nats. You could get more bang for your buck with a Wingstop order, and it probably is easier to cater that.
Okay, no. You go to the top end of wings.
Okay,
you already have $2,500. Is a lot of cash. To play with there. You're not skimping on the price.
Wings are also kind of a pain in the ass though, because you got so many people coming over and they're all trying to put their little bones places. That's kind of a pain in the ass. I don't hate like moving away from that.
If you're getting wings from a chain, for my money, Hooters has the best wings for you.
Really? I don't think I've ever had Hooters wings.
Hooters wings are pretty solid.
How often do you go to Hooters?
I mean, there's the one on the river. It's actually pretty dope. They have a nice TV set. They got like a 4 block. You go there for the 4 p.m. games. It's a nice spot. I go there somewhat frequently.
Once a week? Jesus Christ. All right. Would you actually go wings or what would you do?
Yeah. Wings is a classic Super Bowl food.
I don't know if I would. I think pizza is also an option. Pizza makes things easier.
Pizza, I like eating a pizza. Like, pizza gets set down, you eat the pizza. I don't like grazing a pizza.
Because wings you can graze.
Yeah, like I don't want them
to be
like a sitting out half-hour late pizza is poop in my opinion.
That's actually a good take. You could also split it up. $2,500, get some wings, get some pizza, light it up. All right, on to defense. Defensive tackle. You have Aaron Donald. I have Aaron Donald. He is on pace for another historic season. He has been fucking insane this year. I think he's been the highest grade defensive tackle since like 2014 or when he was drafted. Like he's been kind of cheating
on. So 14 is his rookie year and then 15 on.
I think people don't like talking about Aaron Donald because we've just been talking about him for so long. Like, I honestly don't think we'll ever see this level of dominance sustained ever again.
That's probably,
I don't think.
Yeah, the fact that he's been able to stay healthy for this long, knock on wood, is incredible. And like, I think some of that's because like when you're that dominant, it's just going to be go off on the rails and like my pseudoscience take. But when you're that dominant, you're like in control of yourself more than the other guys. I feel like you get hurt a lot when you get beat or when you're kind of
that's not a bad take actually
necessarily, under control. But he's always in control of like every interaction he's in, whatever he's doing. He knows where he is and like is dictating how things go. Like a lot of guys get hurt when the other person dictates things. So even though I say that, and JJ Watt's like the most injured dude of all time, and he's obviously in that tier of like talented, but still,
I kind of hate your pseudoscience.
Yeah, exactly.
He has played over 700 snaps every year of his career, dating back to when he was drafted in 2014. He has earned a 90-plus PFF grade every year of his career, including his rookie season. Yeah. He's recorded more than 80 pressures in every year of his career since after his rookie season. He has been legitimately insane levels of dominance, and he has a 94.1 PFF grade this year, which would be only top 4 among the grades he's had in a single season in his career, but still the best among any defensive tackle this year. Aaron Donald, a literal monster, continues to have success in the NFL, and I don't think we'll ever see this success again. Defensive tackle, I went a different route, and I know he doesn't always. You went Chris Jones, which is fine. That's fine. And I know he doesn't play like exclusively on the nose a ton, but Cameron Hayward for the Pittsburgh Steelers deserves some love. He's got a 91.2 PFF grade this year, 86.7 pass rushing grade, 58 total pressures on the year. And Cameron Hayward, one of the most underrated players in the NFL, 90-plus PFF grade this year. He's been over 84 in each of the last 6 seasons for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm giving Cameron Hayward some love, making him the number 2 defensive tackle.
Go for it. I'm giving Chris Jones some love because I just think he's better and has been better. And a lot of his, so Cameron Hayward, we'll say, has a higher grade this year. But that's because Chris Jones playing out of position the first 4 weeks of the season. Yeah. He was playing defensive end, is not a defensive end. His grade showed it there. And now he wasn't bad by any means, but he wasn't the dominant dude that we've seen past 10 weeks since he got back to his natural defense tackle spot. So there you go.
Shall we get to edge? Myles Garrett wins edge. Myles Garrett is a monster. He could probably win defensive player of the year.
The fact that the Browns shit the bed down the stretch robbed him. He would, if they played well, get a lead in any of these fucking games here. He's rushing the passer with no regard, like has some situations where he knows the other team's going to pass. No, Browns couldn't do shit. Robbed us of that. Robbed him of it because he would have been defensive player of the year if that would have been the case.
He's now plus 2,500 to win defensive player of the year. Watt, Parsons, Donald are the 3 favorites. Watt at minus 400. But Garrett, man, he has been awesome this year. Will be a career-high 92.0 PFF grade for Myles Garrett this year, a career-high 92.6 pass rushing grade, and he has 76 pressures, which is another career high and among the best in the NFL. Watt will clear it. Parsons has better odds because their teams are better.
Yeah.
Even the Steelers, you can even say the Steelers have a better team than the Browns this year, which is probably
just saw that.
Probably what not anyone saw coming prior to the season. I think some people were picking the Browns for the Super Bowl this year, which is a sad state of affairs if you are a Browns fan. Number 2, I'm glad we agreed on this guy, Max Crosby. Max Crosby getting some love as the other edge on the All-Pro team for both of us here. Max Crosby, he'll have obviously a career high season. I think he's the number 2 graded edge behind Garrett, right?
Yeah. And so, again, this is another one. You flip his season on its head, and we would be thinking about it a lot different. But that guy had 13 pressures against the Ravens, 12 pressures against the Broncos, 13 pressures against the Chiefs. Now, he's been has not graded out as well of late, but the man was on a tear to start the season. Still has like 15 more pressures than anyone else in the NFL. He's got
still has a 91.4 pass rushing grade.
He deserves some love. The TJ Watt is right in the mix for the other edge spot. But it's a full season award. Give me Max Crosby.
I think people are going to hate that.
Oh, yeah.
People are going to hate
that.
That's
fine. That's completely fine.
Watt over Crosby. He's going to be defensive player of the year. I picked Crosby as well, but fuck. I think Watt's going to it's going to be Watt and Garrett as the 2 edges in the real All-Pro team. Linebacker, Micah Parsons. We already waxed poetic about Micah Parsons. He is the highest graded linebacker in the NFL. Obvious choice for one of the linebacker spots. The other one, free agent addition, Devondre Campbell over your future Super Bowl winning Green Bay Packers.
This one,
you like how I put that in there?
Darius, thank you for that. Darius Leonard's been great too. He deserves a lot of love. Devontae Campbell's been insane though. Like, having watched obviously the Packers my entire life, he's playing linebacker differently than any linebacker I've seen in a Green Bay Packers uniform. Now, that's not a high bar, but at the same time, he's playing linebacker differently than any other point in his career. And just as a pure tackler in space, he is the best tackling linebacker in the NFL. He has missed 4 tackles on 138 attempts this year. Any other guy who has over like 100 attempts in terms of tackles has missed at least 10. That is, like, he has been the cornerstone to that defense, but literally holding this defense, this broken defense together with him. It's like I said, Darius Leonard, very close, very good season. It's Devondre Campbell for me.
I love it. I picked Campbell as well. He's one of the highest grade linebackers in all of the NFL. If Micah Parsons didn't exist, more people would be shedding some love. Also, I think if Devondre Campbell was a bigger name, right? More people have talked about Darius Leonard because he is kind of the star for the Colts and a turnover machine. Also a friend of the show. Remember when we met up with him in Indy for that combine and we did that
Darius
live
Leonard.
show with him? Yeah, Darius Leonard. He was a monster. All right, cornerbacks. You went with A.J. Terrell as your first guy, and as did I. He's the highest grade cornerback in PFF. He's also going to have, I think, a top 5 season ever in yards allowed per coverage snap. Yeah. He has limited a ton behind a shitty-ass Falcons pass rush, too. He has held up really well in coverage. You weren't all that high on Terrell coming out, but he has been phenomenal.
Like
25th, right?
Board.
But Terrell,
yes,
first team All-Pro.
For sure. If you listen to this podcast at all, you know that was going to happen. The other one, though, is where the debate starts, at least for me. Now, because the stupid way the All-Pro does they have cornerbacks, 2 cornerback positions, 2 safety positions, and then a defensive hybrid, I think is what they call it. And so, to me, J.C. Jackson fits the other cornerback position, which would be like, true cornerback. Hybrid to me is like slot, box safety, something, or whatever that sort of role is what I feel like. So that to me is Jalen Ramsey. That's what he's done this year for the Los Angeles Rams. He has not been the traditional outside corner you've seen from him in years past. His role has changed for that defense. So he's the hybrid, even if that sounds like shittier in terms of like,
you don't respect him.
Yeah, I'm saying, this way, like, it sounds shittier to be the hybrid first team All Pro than the cornerback first team All Pro. But then if you want a guy who has a lot of picks, J.C. Jackson should be your first team All Pro, not Trayvon Diggs.
Wow.
Trayvon Diggs, obviously we talked about, dude's given up over 1,000 yards this year. J.C. 11 picks. J.C. Jackson 8 picks, nothing to sneeze at, but only 628 yards this year. Dude has been very, very good. 11 pass breakups.
I like that you're giving J.C. Jackson his due. I went with Ramsey as the number 2 corner. Thinking about like how I think part of me thinks about like I think how they'll vote it. I think it will be Ramsey will be there and Diggs.
He will.
I think it'll be Ramsey and Diggs.
It will be.
Ramsey and Diggs are the All-Pros. A.J. Terrell will get some love on the PFF All-Pro team. And then for my hybrid, I went a little bit of a different direction because I didn't really understand what the fuck it's supposed to be. Micah Hyde has been one of the highest graded defensive backs in all of football this year, and he has been truly impressive. And I didn't pick him for either of the safety spots, so I threw him in. But if I couldn't choose a safety, Chidobe Awuzie, another really highly graded outside corner. Maybe I could move him ahead of Ramsey and Ramsey into the hybrid. But I think all those defensive backs need some love. Terrell, Jackson, Ramsey, Awuzie, those 4-ish corners have all been really, really good on the outside sometimes.
And that hybrid is where I could also think or see Javon Holland getting small pro love because of what he did as a blitzer in some games. And now he does play primarily like deep safety, but he has done a lot more things for that defense than your normal deep safety.
Safeties, we aligned on both these. Kevin Byard is the highest grade safety in the NFL. He's also been on the Richard Sherman podcast. You should check out that episode. And Antoine Winfield Jr., friend of the show, is the second highest grade safety in the NFL as a second-year player for the Tampa Bay Bucks. Awesome. He's been hurt somewhat this year too, and he has been absolutely insane for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We aligned on both those, Kevin Byard and Antoine Winfield Jr., the 2 safety spots.
Yeah, Byard, that safety tandem for Tennessee, I love, man. Byard and Hooker.
Hooker's graded really well this year too.
Big reason why they have been the 1 seed. I mean, it's like the guys, Byard, Hooker, Fulton on that defense, all game changers.
Molden.
All guys that I guess Byard we knew was good, but like Hooker, Fulton, and Molden, you're kind of just like, are they going to be we loved them all coming out.
Yeah.
So like we had them all way higher coming out than where they ended up getting drafted. So all fans of what they could be, but you really never know until you see it. And well, shit, we're seeing it.
And then if Farley can get healthy, that's another like PFF guy in the secondary to bring in. That secondary could develop into something special.
John Robinson following our draft board. Thanks.
Following our draft board, baby. All right, that's going to do it for the all-pro teams, the all-rookie teams. Make sure to rip us apart in the mentions when you need to. Let's get to the bus watch. We got bus watch, washed watch, whiff watch, and then the first round lock segment, which is this the last week for first round lock?
This is it. I said I'd do 20 right up until the national championship game.
Well, let's start with bus watch, the bad bust.
The bad bust. There's no bad busts in my opinion.
Shut
but
up.
I would go this is the first time all season we're going with an actual rookie, I believe. I don't think we've done a true rookie yet because we don't want to put that on him too early. Give everyone the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
But Jamin Davis, we talked about him last week on the first round segment, or 2 weeks ago. He was benched. He got benched this past week. A first rounder getting benched for David Mayo. Now, he had COVID 2 weeks ago, comes back, and like Ron Rivera's post-game comments did not seem to make it seem, good Lord, what am I saying here? Did not make it seem as if it was because he was still suffering effects from COVID or sick or whatever, and that's why he got benched. It seemed like he was actually thought that the defense looked better and performed better. In that week, Jamin Davis is gone, and David Mayo took a spot. So David Mayo then took a spot full time. So that's always a scary proposition. Now, again, only a rookie, no death knell, but getting benched your rookie year as a first rounder this late in the season is a scary thing, especially kind of with, Washington's history of benching first rounders. The last one to do it is now playing backup quarterback for the Steelers.
I have a few things there. One, it might be a little early to put him on bus watch. I always think that's a bit aggressive, but man, like he has not graded well this year. 39.8 PFF grade for PFF over 500 snaps played. In the linebacker position, we've talked about guys like Patrick Queen, Devin White, Devin Bush, who have like legitimately come out and not graded well. That's a fact. Mm-hmm. Jamin Davis has been in that camp. But then there's other people who are listening at home and like, who the fuck is David Mayo? David Mayo is a 28-year-old veteran who's been bounced around the league, played for Carolina for the start, Giants for a little bit. He's now on the football team. Former Texas State player, 5th-round pick in the 2015 draft. If he's playing better, there are concerns, right? Like we didn't have this conversation with Queen. We didn't have this conversation with Devin White. We have not even had this conversation with Devin Bush, where he's getting benched for objectively lower investment players like David Mayo. That is a legitimate concern. That is a journeyman. Yeah. That is a concern. So I'm nervous to put a rookie that early. Jamin Davis was our number 41 overall player on the draft board behind Alex Leatherwood. So there is, again, maybe it's a bit too early, but man, I think Jamin Davis needs to turn around fast or else David Mayo's going to take your job, which you don't want to see as a rookie first rounder out of Kentucky. Other bust.
Bust watch, Hall of Fame watch. Antonio Brown.
I'm all in.
This is more of the conversation. Do the voters at this point, after the shenanigans, hold it against him when it comes time for the Hall of Fame?
Yes.
Does he? Now, I feel fairly comfortable saying he won't get on the first ballot after all this. But is it a complete blackballing where he's just not getting in altogether? Because, T.O. didn't get in on the first ballot because of whatever, reporters and whatnot hating him. So Antonio Brown's definitely not getting if T.O. didn't get in the first ballot. But will he be left out altogether in the cold, do you think?
I think he does get left out altogether. Ooh. I think Antonio Brown is a Hall of Fame talent, and if he didn't streak off the field and among the other things that he's been accused of, like I don't think this is even a question. Like he's a Hall of Famer, first ballot, one of the best receivers in the game has legitimately ever seen in his peak, and his peak was still going. Like he retired in a game or whatever the fuck just happened. He left a game after like cooking Bryce Hall, one of the better routes we've seen this year. Like he has been still very good, still a top receiver in the NFL.
Yeah. It's crazy how much like meat he left off the bone by being a psychopath, though. He had 15 touchdowns his last.
Can you not
season.
label him a psychopath? Like he's going. I feel like that's just
that label. Let's look up the definition of a psychopath, and then we can talk about.
I just don't think you. I don't know. Regardless, Antonio Brown has gone through it.
Mental disorder or abnormal or violent social behavior. What would we call what just went on there?
I just think you're being a dick, man.
I'm just saying. I hope he gets help. It is what it is.
That's
at this
fair.
Point.
That's fair.
It is what it is at this point. But his last season, 2018, 15 touchdowns, 1,297 yards. He had a 6-year stretch where he averaged 1,524 yards a year. there might be 3 receivers in the NFL that get to that this year. And he averaged that for 6 years straight. That's first ballot Hall of Fame. If he played baseball, he would definitely never be going to the Hall of Fame. But I think NFL writers are a little bit more lenient on this sort of antics. I think he ends up getting in.
Really?
I do think he ends up getting in.
Wow. You hope so, right? And that Hall of Fame speech will be a legitimate treat. Yes. For the content alone, that will be quite the time. I hope he gets help. I hope he gets back in the NFL. You see the Bucs haven't released him?
Oh, they're trying to, they're just whatever. So no one else can pick him up, right? They're just,
I guess, but do they put him on the field?
It behooves them at that point to not, to give him to anyone other contender. Pay whatever money it's going to cost them. Probably not that much because he didn't sign for a ton.
But is there no way to get him on the field? I mean, I don't know. If you're keeping him, are you only keeping him so he doesn't play for anybody else? At that point, why aren't you playing him?
It's gonna come. What is it gonna be? NFC Championship game. They're going to Lambeau. Antonio Brown runs out the tunnel.
Let's go. I hope it happens.
Arians just
there is no arguing.
Answer a single question about it.
There is no arguing. Antonio Brown dressed is objectively a top receiver in the NFL and one that the Bucs could need with Chris Godwin out, Evans battling injuries. They're starting Cyril Grayson out there. They need Antonio Brown. They don't need him for week 18. Yeah. Give him the fucking week off, and they're not going to need him for the first, or they're not getting the first round bye. They might need him early. Mm-hmm. Maybe save him for the postseason. I don't think cutting him makes sense. Now, Bruce Arians, of course, would look kind of foolish because he's no longer with this team, but he's not he's still on the football team. He's still signed. I'm interested in what will ultimately happen. But anyway, Washed Watch. Wow. Michael Brockers is on this list. He was one of my favorites in the NFL for a couple of years because he's this unsung hero alongside Aaron Donald, who's always graded really, really well, but it's over. We're screwed with Michael Brockers. I think he might be done. His peak is over.
It sadly is over. He is 31 years old. And now that's not terribly old, but obviously everyone's career path is different. But this year, this is almost difficult to believe, this statistic. 283 pass rushing snaps, 5 pressures. I think, I'm just gonna say, if you put me on an NFL football field and told me to rush the passer 283 times, I could pressure a quarterback 5 times. Now, my rush lanes, my whatever would not be great, but you could spy luck into 5 pressures.
I agree.
On 283
That's
snaps.
fair.
A quarterback running, you could get to the QB outside the pocket, generate pressure. 5 times is one of the most insane pressure rates I've ever seen at the NFL level. There was a guy one year, who was it? It was when the Bucs were really bad, 2016, where a guy had 120 pass rush snaps in 1 pressure for the whole season. Who was it? I got to look that one up. But 5 pressures for being a full-time player. He hasn't had a pressure since week 11. He's been started every game but 1 over that span. So I think it's safe to say his best days are behind him.
How many pressures do you honestly think you could get? Is 5 the max? How many pressures?
Pass rushing.
Let's call it 300. 300 pass rush opportunities. How many pressures do you get?
10. I get 10.
You think you can get 10?
10. I'm saying you kind of spy. You if you really had
you had no other responsibilities.
No other responsibilities.
That makes sense.
Just get a pressure, the quarterback exits, whatever. But I think you get to 10 on 300.
Yeah, so you're kind of sitting back. You have no responsibility, but try and find a way to get to the quarterback.
But just run right behind whoever's my defensive end and just try to hop over him, or I don't know, something like that.
I mean, it's not bad, but then they know that you're doing that. They're like, hey, this guy doesn't do anything but try and rush the passer, and he's kind of try. I don't think you would get 5 to 10 pressures. I don't think you would. Yeah. I mean, especially if you play that role. I have no responsibilities. I just rush the passer.
Now, if I'm an interior rusher, that would be a different story.
You're not getting out pressure. You're going to get your ass creamed. You're not going to get a snap. Anyway, Whiff Watch. I think I could get 1 pressure. 300 snaps. I think I could get 1.
Try to dive between the offensive lineman's legs.
Yeah, honestly, I would find a way to get 1. Give me 300 tries, and I'd try and get 1. Whiff Watch. You're up.
This one. So this was spurred by the Rashad Penny conversation from said episode. Probably we've talked about Penny on a few episodes now, but I went back and looked. Rashad Penny, we had 29th that year. That was 2018, which is not terrible. That one's obviously not great in retrospect, but he has been good when healthy. This one though, Ronald Jones, 39th on the board that year. And this was before we really were hey, running backs don't matter. This is when we're they probably don't matter as much as the NFL thinks they do. But Ronald Jones at 39th was a tough sell. And that was ahead of, I believe we had him like 2 spots ahead of Nick Chubb, which hurts.
Oh my God.
Retrospect. Now,
Nick Chubb had the injuries though, right?
But Nick Chubb was a big thing about just like, was he healthy? Because he really never was at Georgia.
His true freshman year at Georgia, though?
Was insanity.
Dude, that was one of the best.
Honestly, like he was still probably better as a true freshman than he is right now, which is crazy to think about.
He was
different.
That go back and turn on that tape because that was an insane year, that true freshman year at Georgia for Nick Chubb. First round lock, your last of the 20, and then list the 20, please. Your last time we're really putting this up.
This is it. Roll.
And Max Chadwick,
that
producer.
Let's
get a graphic. Mike Renner's final first round locks.
Whew. Now I don't want a graphic going on social because I did some of these so early on that I also I don't love him anymore.
Really,
you know?
Really.
But that was the gist of the exercise.
No graphic. Max, no graphic.
That was the gist of the exercise. Kayvon Thibodeau.
I'm tweeting it out.
Derek Stingley, Evan Neal, Kyle Hamilton, DeMarvin Leal, Tyler Linderbaum, Garrett Wilson, Ike Ekwonu, George Karlaftis, Nakobe Dean, Charles Cross, Mississippi State offensive tackle. I probably should have been saying positions and schools for these, but hopefully you knew all those. Jameson Williams, Alabama wide receiver. Jordan Davis, the Georgia defense tackle. Kenny Pickett, Pittsburgh quarterback. Devin Lloyd, the Utah linebacker. David Ojabo, the Michigan defensive end. Drake London, USC wide receiver. Andrew Booth, Clemson cornerback. And my last and final one, number 20, saved the best for last. Wearing the shirt, it's Ahmad Gardner, the cornerback from Cincinnati. First round lock, goes against Alabama, holds his own against Jameson Williams. I believe he allowed 12 yards all game long. Finished the season with 124 yards in the entire year. Just absurd stuff from him. 131, and 14 yards against Alabama.
And Alabama came out and gave him some fucking respect.
Yeah.
Like they were running a ton of bunch sets, trying to force him in his own coverage and like limit him from being a one-on-one guy against their best guys. And Cincinnati obviously wanted to go in that game and have Ahmad Gardner go one-on-one against some of their best, but they literally didn't have that opportunity with how much they ran the football, ran the bunch stuff, and forced them into zone coverage where they just got eaten alive. Their linebackers legitimately got eaten alive in that game on the underneath stuff, couldn't tackle all that. So Ahmad Gardner, I'm excited for his NFL career. I think the Sauce nickname, the social media managers are chomping at the bit to try and just get a little piece of that. And I think whatever team grabs them needs to take advantage of that full force. So Ahmad Gardner, first round lock. Let's get to the interview now with not a first round lock, but maybe a day 2, day 3 guy, Kyren Williams, Notre Dame running back. Now joining the Tailgate Podcast is Notre Dame running back Kyren Williams. I got to be honest, man. My co-host Mike Renner is a big Notre Dame fan. He's excited for this one. So I hope I pan this out. I hope I nail the interview. I don't know the dorm names. I don't know. There's the book league basketball or whatever the hell that thing's called. I don't know any of that stuff. But that's it. But it's great to have you on the show, even though I'm not a Notre Dame guy.
Sure. I'm excited to be here. Let's get started.
Absolutely, man. I want to get a little bit into your background before we talk about obviously the years that you've had at Notre Dame, specifically this past season, having a lot of success, now entering the draft. But former 4-star recruit from Missouri, have some offers from you have an offer from Missouri, you have offers from Iowa, opportunity to go into the Big Ten. What ultimately drew you to Notre Dame? To leave state to go to Notre Dame, and I guess speak to that decision and honestly your recruiting process as a whole.
Yeah. So to start it off, I wouldn't even consider myself a 4-star because they gave me my 4-star on the last day that they were.
No way.
Yeah. I was really a 3-star, and I'm going to take a 3-star to the grave. And that's really who I am as a person. I am that kind of 3-star type of guy who always has a mentality to work. So like you said, in high school, I had some offers, at first it was slow. My freshman, sophomore year, I had maybe one offer from my first offer was Nebraska. So I had one offer my freshman, sophomore year, and then my junior year, that's when a lot of my offers came, and then it came down to Michigan, Mizzou, and Notre Dame, and then for me, it was kind of an easy decision at the time because because Mizzou offered me late, and I was a hometown kid, so I felt kind of what that why are you now offering me now when you could have done it before? So I just put them in there just because I have that is my hometown team, so I'm gonna put them in there. And then it was really between Notre Dame and Michigan, and at the time it was just what do I really want in life, because at Notre Dame, you're really going to that school because you're bettering yourself for the life that your future holds, whether that's, athletically or whether that's in the business world or the real world. So I feel like it kind of geared me both towards where I wanted to be. Both on and off the field. Obviously, I wanted to go to a university that can get me to the NFL, but also a university that I can have a degree to fall back on. So at that point, it was just an easy decision for me to pick Notre Dame.
Yeah, I mean, Notre Dame, an awesome school. From like all the players I've talked to from Notre Dame, and even Mike, he's speaks to just like how much it prepares you, just not just for football, right, but also like your life and going on beyond that. So that's awesome that you were able to make that decision. Obviously, had a ton of success at Notre Dame, focusing in more on that. This past season had one of the more impressive seasons you've had there. You've kind of grown in your role in this offense as you've developed. But this past season, 204 carries, 990 yards, 14 touchdowns, an awesome year for you, even back-to-back years there at Notre Dame. And something I love about your running style is that you pack a huge punch with every touch, right? Like you are a bowling ball of butcher knives. I think some people have said that about your game. It's an impressive thing to watch. I guess speak to how much you feel your game has improved over the course of your career there at Notre Dame. And also shine light using your words, right? Like this entire draft process, people are going to say like what you are and, your size and how you run. I guess speak to how you feel your running style is and what your strengths are.
So, I just, for me, my running style personally, I feel like I'm like kind of like a freestyle type of guy. I kind of act on instincts and act on levers that I see from other, for defenders that are coming at me trying to tackle me. So, I really try to break it down as fast as I can and try to, like I said, use the leverage against them so that I can be able to make them cut or make a cut. But then I also, like he said, I also can run you over and I put my head down. So I kind of use those two kind of to my advantage. It's like pick your poison, what kind of way I'm going to go. And depends on when I'm running. Like if I'm between the tackles, then obviously I'm going to have my head down at first and then be able to try to make a second level cut. So I'm able to break free. But yeah, just over the years at Notre Dame, I was able to develop different skills that allowed me to be able to do the things that I do now. Like as I said, like set people up and then like being able to have patience and when able to see cuts and know the holes are at. So just using those skills each and every time that I'm at practice and then watching film and then being able to relate it in the game, it just helped me, be able to develop from my freshman year to my junior year now.
I think you were leveraged well as well in the passing game, right? I think over 30 receptions over the past 2 years. And I think where the NFL is going. Everyone knows that it's becoming a passing league. And what's expected of the running back position so much now is to catch the football, to pass protect. What's your viewpoint on the importance there, right? How important is it for a back like yourself to be a legitimate weapon as a pass catcher? And I guess speak to the skills you bring in the passing game.
Yeah, I think as a back, you could be the way that you can be the best back is to have all the traits it is to be what it is to be a running back. So whether that's pass the ball, run the ball, cutting, making people miss, or pass protection, like all of those skills you need to be able to have in order to be a running back. So I think that's just one of the traits that a running back needs to have to be a complete running back. And I think I possess that well because of my experience with playing wide receiver in high school and doing everything. Got all my offers from being a slot receiver and doing one-on-ones and
oh really.
Going to camps and like that. I wasn't doing running back drills. I was just doing wide receiver drills. So I just feel like that with my experience of catching the ball and being able to do it in the slot and out of the backfield, it helps me be able to be that complete back that has all those traits I just talked about.
Did you ever want to have more time at receiver, right? Or when you were being recruited, did you want to like kind of exclusively play running back?
100%. I wanted to be able to really play like almost 50-50, both slot and running back. Like I want to be able to like make teams be able to think where he's going to line up this next drive. Like it's always going to I want it to be a question every time, every drive.
I mean, that you see all the success. I'm sure you watched some of the NFL this year, like Deebo Samuel, right? Like Deebo Samuel playing in the slot. He plays outside. He plays running back. I mean, that you have a similar frame, right? Like that's, like 5'9", 5'10", 200 frame where you're a bulky, compact, athletic player. I mean, there is a lot of reason for teams to start to go in that direction, to use players like yourself to draw more value. And I think that versatility is going to speak volumes to like what you can do at the next level. I think that's fantastic to hear from your perspective. Talk more about your film preparation and how that's improved. You spoke to it a little bit, but I love hearing from players how their film watching has improved, how their football IQ has improved, and what you look for specifically on tape when you're preparing for a certain defense or a certain opponent.
Right. So I wasn't at first, like you said, like my freshman year. I wasn't really good with watching film because, I wasn't playing as much. So it didn't really matter. I didn't think it mattered to me. But once I got to playing, I really seen how much it mattered to me, whether that even be in practice. I remember every time in like my sophomore year, I would, after practice, I'd get home, hop right on my iPad and go to the plays that I thought that I messed up. And, just looking at those plays and be able to correct what you did wrong, whether I watched a lot of wide receiver reps that I had to be able to correct my steps to where I want to break off at. And so when I'm in the game, those things become memory, and then you're just be able to react because you watch film. So that's just one thing I look at, was how many steps I'll be able to take whenever I'm breaking just being able to break a defender off, and then kind of what leverage he's giving me as well. And also when I'm at the running back, I try to watch the two linebackers, and my basic inside zone reads. I just apply those to all the plays that I'm watching, and then I just read the backers flow. Either if they go outside, then I know the cut's going to be inside. If one flows to the left, then the cut's going to be right side because the other backer is outside of the box. So it's just I just try to key on those different things and try to read the flows of the linebackers, and obviously see how they're tackled, see how they blitz, see how they are in coverage, see how they are one-on-one in space. I try to watch all those things. So just try the things that I bring to my game. I try to watch those. I try to watch other players do that, and I not just watch the linebackers as well and other players.
What about NFL tape, right? Do you ever have opportunities, maybe in the off season? It's so much harder to watch, NFL tape in season when you're preparing every week, but in the off season, are there running backs or players in the NFL that you watch a lot of, right? That you kind of pattern your game after, or just like really appreciate?
So, there's not one specific running back, or there's not one specific person that I watch. Every week we had the NFL TD run. So I would, when I got done watching film, I would go to those and watch every single TD run there was of that week, of whatever week of the NFL was. So that's what I really use. I just try to watch multiple different backs. But I do remember watching J.K. Dobbins, like just singly J.K. Dobbins from his college tape to his NFL tape, because one of our GAs last year told me that I played similar to him, because our GA played him at Michigan while he was at Ohio State. So I try to watch his film and see what he did, but I can see how we can relate, and I kind of got stuff from him basically, especially when he runs the outside zone, because he's a really outside zone back. And so I watched how the patience he used, and just trying to see how he read a defense to whether he needed to cut back or stayed front side.
And J.K. Dobbins, another guy that's kind of in the same size tier as you, right? 5'10", 210. What weight did you play at this past year? And is there like a goal weight that you want to hit as you enter kind of the draft season, or like kind of this off season?
Yeah, I played the season. I varied. I didn't really worry about my weight. I wasn't as because my freshman year I was a little chubbier. I was heavier. I was about 205, 207. On a bad day 210. So I didn't. Yeah, I didn't like how I was. I didn't like how I felt playing. So during COVID, I was able to, go back home and put in all the work to get to where I'm at now. So after that point, I didn't really care where my weight was at, because I knew I wasn't going to get to back where I was, because my body was in a whole different type of shape, a different type of form, physical form, everything. So I didn't really care. So last year I played, I don't know, 195 to 200 probably range.
Gotcha. And is that the range you want to stay in, right? Do you want to stay in that 195, 200 range?
Lean, solid, 200.
Gotcha. Yeah, perfect, man. Well, let's get into this draft season. I love talking to players like yourself, prospects entering the draft, because it is such a hectic time, right? You are training down there in Florida right now. I'm sure you're on a diet plan, and you got media interviews every single day. It's like kind of hectic. How has the process been so far? And I guess what have been maybe some of the bigger surprises as you entered this process?
So yeah, as you said, I'm down here in Florida with Bomarito's performance, but it hasn't really, I came early since I opted out the bowl game, so I'm not playing in the bowl game. So I'm not at the practices and doing all that. So I came down here early before it really kind of started. I'm getting like the pre-trial to what the real draft thing is here at Bomarito's, but so far it's been smooth. I've been able to get a lot of work in. I've been here for 2 weeks, just working each and every day, just trying to get better. And throughout the whole process, whether that's running back, receiver, the 40, three-cone, all of that. So I expect, obviously it's a load up eventually after, I think on January 3rd, it's supposed to start. So, that's when I'm really get the full experience of what it's like, training for the combine.
I would definitely, soak that up, man. The people I've talked to who've gone to places like, Marino's, Exos, and been able to meet all these different players going into that they've come out with a lot of good friendships and a lot of good relationships. So I think it'll be, in addition to obviously like preparing you for the combine and pro days and stuff like that, I think it's going to be a really unique experience for you to, meet a lot of these guys and improve in that area. One more thing I wanted to touch on before I let you go. I really appreciate the time. Marcus Freeman, Notre Dame is entering this new era with Marcus Freeman taking over. I know him pretty well. I'm here in Cincinnati. That's where PFF is based out of. I've had opportunities to talk to him when he was here, the DC in Cincinnati. You can't find someone to speak a bad word on this dude. He is phenomenal on and off the field. He's such a nice guy, such a nice leader. I'd love to hear from your perspective, just the hands that you feel Notre Dame football is in, right? Like, what is this new era going to look like under Freeman? And maybe how excited should Notre Dame be? I know you're leaving, but Freeman obviously there to stay.
Yeah, as you said, Freeman's a great guy. He's even better coach. Everything that everybody says is true. He's a great players coach. I know me and him had a relationship, even though I was even on offense. But I think Notre Dame is in great hands. He brings that competitive mindset that you want to bring out of players each and every day. He brings that to practice, and I've been to a couple of practices as I was able to see, people really competing and people really trying to get better. And that's a great trend for Notre Dame, especially Notre Dame football, to be in that direction with Coach Freeman and Coach Bayless with the strength coach. Them two being able to be together, I just feel like it's definitely going to be in great hands.
Awesome, man. Kyren, I really appreciate the time, and I wish you the best of luck in this process.
So appreciate you.
That's going to do it for this episode of Tailgate. Make sure you rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. And while you're there, in the description, speakpipe.com/tailgate. Leave a voicemail to enter a voicemail for the mailbag episode. We will record that on Wednesday for Thursday's release. Until next time, Austin Gayle, Mike Renner, Tailgate.